Physician-assisted suicide should be allowed in all 50 states because it allows the patient to choose their own fate. Many people are against PSA because once a patient decides to go forward with the treatment, they no longer have the chance to change their minds. But there is a protocol to make sure the patient is not being forced into it and is in complete understanding of what PSA will mean, or PAS will mean. As long as no one else is harmed, the morality of the situation is justified with the patient's agreement and understanding of the outcome. In Document 5, it states that those against PAS say that it takes away the sanctity of life. But if there is no longer any quality or enjoyment of life, is it really living? That is what most terminally ill patients would reflect on when considering PAS. Whose decision should it really be that a person should live or die? Their own, especially in a scenario that someone has no more quality of life.
1 minute, 3 seconds. Rebuttal.
Yes, it is their decision for them to end their life, but they're not really the ones ending it. You have to think about, like, even the doctors who administer euthanasia. A lot of them don't really feel comfortable doing that, and the people who do, a study has found that some of these doctors who advocate for euthanasia actually use this as a way to exhibit their psychopathic tendencies, and it's just because they actually like killing people who are innocent.
Okay, 38 seconds. Point 4, Khan.
Physician-assisted suicide should not be allowed because it destabilizes the doctor-patient relationship. A doctor's role is to heal their patients to the best of their ability. Helping a patient take their own life is not attempting to cure them. Euthanasia is fundamentally incompatible with the physician's role as a healer. Euthanasia or assisted suicide is the opposite of healing. Therefore, PAS goes against the very foundation of a physician's job. When a patient goes to the doctor, they are trusting that the physician will follow their role of a healer and try to cure them. Source A says, laws sanctioning physician-assisted suicide serve to undermine the foundation of the patient-physician relationship, which is grounded in the patient's trust that the physician is working wholeheartedly for the patient's health and welfare. Patients and their families should be able to trust that the doctor is trying to the best of their ability to save the patient's life. If physicians help in the patient's suicide, then they are not trying to cure the patient. Physician-assisted suicide should not be allowed because it's the opposite of what a doctor's job is, and it hurts the trust between physicians and patients.
1 minute, 4 seconds. Rebuttal.
So there's this thing called bedside manner, which is being there for your patient if you're a doctor. And if the patient goes through the 2 oral requests, 1 written request, and waiting periods to be sure and other requirements for physician-assisted suicide to go through for that patient, then that means that they're being there for their patient and they're not just killing them because they want to. And
Yeah, we're not going to rebut your rebuttals because we're going to adhere to the rules, but we would like to point out that when we're making claims and statements, we're backing ourselves up with facts.
33 seconds. Point 5, Crow.
when it comes for someone's life to inevitably end, why should they not be able to end it earlier when they want? By legalizing physician-assisted suicide across the country, messy suicides would be prevented. People do not realize the treatment and pain that comes with being terminally ill. When circumstances become unbearable and physician-assisted suicide is not an option, some patients will take their life by themselves, often in horrid and gruesome ways. For example, after 28 years of struggling with neurofibromatosis, a condition where tumors frequently form on several parts of the body, Craig Schonegevel decided the quality of his life was too poor and intolerable to live up for the rest of his life. He had undergone multiple surgeries, but finally decided that the quality of life was too unbearable for him to continue to live. As a result of his endless suffering, he swallowed 12 sleeping pills and tied 2 plastic bags around his head on September 1st, 2009. The next morning, he was found lying lifeless in his bed by his parents. Source 3. If physician-assisted suicide was legal throughout the country, this situation could have been prevented. Instead of having to OD and suffocate, Craig could have had a doctor legally end his life peacefully as he rested within the grasp of his parents. If there is no hope left and a patient realizes their life would end with a horrific suicide, why should it be required they live the rest of their life in agonizing mental and physical pain against their will?
1 minute, 22 seconds, rebuttal.
So you said that physician-assisted suicide would prevent messy suicides. That's not really the case. They've actually found, according to the Oregon Health Authority, once they legalized physician-assisted suicide, they found that it gave sort of a social approval of suicide, and it created sort of almost like a culture of suicide that people were just thinking, oh, well, I mean, if it's legal for doctors to do it, then, I mean, I can just do it myself. And so they actually found an increase in suicides from just people who were not terminally ill or anything like that.
48 seconds, point 5, Con.
The definition of a physician is a person who is skilled in the art of healing. The duty of a physician is right in the definition, to heal the patients to the best of their ability. Physician-assisted suicide goes against this basic principle and in fact is the antithesis. Physician-assisted suicide is completely unethical and immoral and should never be legalized in the United States. Each human's life is a precious thing, and that deserves dignity and respect. According to Margaret Somerville, a law and medicine professor, respect for life is a foundational value of all societies. What kind of respect are we giving life by not allowing it to take its natural course and ending it far too early? A patient's respect is thrown out the window when the patient's life is ended. A physician does not have the power or the right to dictate which lives are worth living and which deserve to end. By allowing physician-assisted suicide, our society is disregarding the basic value of respect for life. Moral codes are what keep people in line and doing the right thing. By allowing this immoral action to be legal, it just opens up the public to neglecting their moral conscience. As soon as people stop following the path of morality, chaos ensues. Physician-assisted suicide counteracts the trust built between physician and patient, as stated earlier. It is never moral to break the sacred trust between two people, especially on such an important scale. Also, physician-assisted suicide would just be a legalized form of murder. Is the taking of another person's life. How can taking someone's life ever be justifiable? Murder is a punishable crime, and physician-assisted suicide is no different. Physician-assisted suicide is completely immoral and should never be legalized.
1 minute, 37 seconds, point 5, rebuttal.
So first of all, you said it's murder, but it's technically not murder if someone is incapable of doing it themselves, like someone who's in immense pain and suffering. And it's not moral to keep someone alive who's in this sort of suffering, both mental and physical, and to hold them against their own choices, but not moral to let them make their own choice to end their own pain.
I would have to agree with you also that the physician has no right to choose or prescribe death on their patients. That's why we're supporting physician-assisted suicide, not physician murder. The patient is the one who ultimately chooses to end their own life.
They're just incapable of doing it themselves.
37 seconds.